Hi, this is Shell of Shell's Creations, and today I want to share with you an idea, just a fun tip that you can do when you are creating titles on your layouts using alphas. Some of the alphas that I have in my store automatically do this tip, and that's kind of how I came up with it in the first place. There are a lot of alphas that they're kind of unicase alphas. Sometimes they're even upper and lowercase alphas, but in the place of what we would traditionally think of as uppercase letters, they use lowercase letters. The one that I have this week that's the Surfin' USA Alpha is a perfect example of that, and if you look at this preview you can see that the F on it is, even though this is a unicase alpha, so there's not an uppercase F and a lowercase f, the only F in this alpha is what we would traditionally think of as lowercase. The I is a lowercase, but yet the N is uppercase. The U, S, and then again the A is a lowercase. Here's another one. This Boho Summer Alpha has the same concept. The E you can see in it is what we would typically think of as lowercase, but that one is in there as well. You can even create that look on your own, even if it's a traditional alpha that does have upper and lowercase, and that's what we're going to talk about with our tip today. For example, when I created the preview for this newsworthy alpha, I used both the uppercase and the lowercase in a somewhat random fashion to give it a more whimsical look. So this technique works better on layouts where you want some sort of fun feel to it. It's not something you would use on a formal, perhaps like a graduation layout, but it's something that would work on a more informal one. So let me go ahead and show you how that might work. I have a couple of layouts that I have completed with just typical I've used just the typical uppercase, lowercase format that you might expect, and I'm going to play with those. So let's do this one first. This one is going to be a little more difficult because there's only 5 letters. So one tip in using this is it works better on a little bit longer titles. If you've only got 3 letters in your title, it doesn't have quite the same effect. But we're going to go ahead and try this one. So I'm going to bring in the uppercase S. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in the uppercase Y. Alright, I know I want the uppercase Y right there, and now I'm just going to be playing with them. So I'm going to go ahead and add a shadow style to them. And then I'm going to get rid of the lowercase ones so that I can play around with them. And again, remember, this is a whimsical style, and so you want to go up and down. Don't worry about your baseline. Move things up and down. Let's move that one down to here, and perhaps this one right here. Yeah, there we go. And then I probably am going to center them just a little bit better here. It looks like I have erased a piece of that chocolate chip that I wanted to be on top of it before. And so I'm going to move it to right there, and then I need to fix the chocolate chips that were over top of it. But there, it gives it just a little bit more of a whimsical look there. I might even move this scatter and smear just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So that's an example of it. Here's another one. This is a layout about a trip that we had to the amusement park, hence my title, Amused. Well, actually, it was more than amused. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of the uppercase letters here. Now you can take a tip from those alphas. They often use a lot of the same letters, I've noticed as I looked at them. The vowels are typically one, M, N, Y, F, I, T. Those are some of the ones that they use lowercase and uppercase letters on. And I sometimes will pick them based on where they are. This time I think I'm going to do the U and the S and the D as capital letters here, or uppercase letters. So let's go ahead and move those on. There's the D. Now this clearly would have been easier for me to do when I was creating it initially rather than after, because I have changed the size of these letters. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is go ahead and make them all smaller so that they fit in with the size of the letters that I was using. There we go. Now they are smaller. Okay, let's go ahead and add a shadow to these because I find it easier to see what I'm doing if they've got the shadow in. And let's turn off the letters that we will not be using. And let's move these in place. Now, I had them arranged previously with a pretty strong baseline, meaning they were all in a row. And this time I'm going to kind of bounce them up and down a little bit more, again, to add to the whimsy on that. I'm going to bring the E forward. I'm using my shortcut of holding down the Command or the Control key and the bracket key, and that will move things up and down. And again, by nature of the fact that these are going to be a little bit more larger because they're uppercase, I may end up moving things around just a little bit more. Let's move that one down just a smidgen. Remember, the up and the down will again add to the whimsy of things. And I usually like my last letter and my first letter to be about the same, because to me that kind of centers the word of where it's supposed to be. There we go, more than amused. So adding uppercase letters and mixing your uppercase and lowercase letters is a great fun way to just add some whimsy to it. There are a couple of situations where I don't recommend it. One of them is in the case of like this layout right here, where I am crunched for space on this one, and so I am using the uppercase to kind of separate the words, even though there's not much space between my words, and because I'm using it in an organized fashion there, then mixing them up on this one would kind of mess things up. This one is almost like a hashtag where I'm using uppercase to differentiate between the separate words. And I already mentioned that one of them that is not a good option is when it's a short word. Something like this is a little more difficult to use the upper and lowercase on. But any of those fun layouts that you've got that you just want to add a little bit more whimsy to the title, mixing and mingling your uppercase and lowercase and kind of bouncing things up with the title is a fun way to do that. If you have any questions, you can reach me at shells.creations1@gmail.com. See you next time.